Yeah. So yeah, I'll just pass it on to Jennifer and Kat.
Thank you for having us, Patty. Shall we introduce ourselves
Yeah,
quickly?
please
Yeah,
introduce yourselves.
yeah. So hi everyone. My name's Kat. I'm a writer and creative workshop facilitator and literature co-editor for Left Line magazine in Nottingham. Myself and Jennifer were youth panel members for this year's Big City Read scheme. And yeah, both felt incredibly fortunate to been assigned The Ocean Will Paint Me Blue. It's not every day that you get to read a book before it's even published. So I was very excited to dive into this story. Um, the process of selecting this book was really special. We got to read Ocean before it was even published of June this year, and I've reread it quite a few times since then, obviously to soak up the story and to appreciate its layers. And yeah, I was lucky to do a book review for our magazine for this year. Um, yeah, it's a beautiful piece of writing, the way it confronts so many hard truths while still leaving you with a sense of hope. Our theme for this year's was identity, and there's a lot of different formats of identity in the story. Um, I love Jihad's journey as reading it as a for her as a Syrian American Muslim artist navigating a predominantly white and exclusive high school felt very real and necessary. It's a story that doesn't shy away from the pain of experiencing class discrimination, Islamophobia, or bullying, but it shows how art and creativity can be a form of resistance and resilience. So we included it for Big City Reads. It felt like an obvious choice of a book that challenges, empowers, and reminds young readers that their stories matter. Why I personally loved it. It's nothing like anything I've read before. I loved the magical realism that blended seamlessly with Jihad's emotional journey. It made it feel like you were stepping into a world where grief and colour are intertwined. I love the metaphor of the grey scale with grief and then how she reclaims all of her colours and each soul behind each colour and her way of processing her emotions. Yeah, I love how the story ties artistry and resilience of using her paintbrush to fight prejudice was incredibly powerful. I loved the lyrical descriptions of colours in every chapter, and the book itself felt like reading a canvas. Beyond the beauty of the writing, I loved the emotional depth that really stays with you, Jihad's grief and her journey of rediscovering herself, of her heritage, but also as an artist and the unapologetic pride in her roots. It's yeah, very raw and very real, and it reminded me why stories like this matter. And it's giving young readers, especially those who feel unseen or unheard or misunderstood, definitely a mirror to their own experiences and a reminder that voices deserve to be heard. But yeah, I've been rambling on about why I love this story, but I'm going to pass over to Jennifer. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Over to you, Jennifer.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Jennifer and I am a creative writing student at Nottingham University. And yeah, I've been really lucky enough to read Ocean before the release, which was also difficult because I had to shut my mouth for all the months because I couldn't spoil the book, I couldn't talk about it, but then I could just tell people how good the book was. And personally, I'm a person who loves to draw, loves to paint, and then finding a book that is full about colors and about painting and about art, and then you could connect yourself to the book in so many different ways. So, the process of applying to a school, the pressure of application. Like, I was someone who came here 1 year ago doing all those things, and then you know how difficult it is. And then you're also a person of color in a country, and then you are also fighting so many things. But then, I've never been bullied, so thank God, lucky enough. But then you know how difficult it is. You were scared that you to express yourself for the way you are, and then you find jihad. I'm not a Muslim, but then I could see myself in so many ways. Jihad faces things, and then how she, is in a country that is in her hometown, is in a home country, but then she's an American, but then not as an American. So you can be born there, but then still you can't be accepted as one of their own. And then I think the book has helped me, express myself the way I am. And then it has inspired me to write so much, to paint so much. And then I just love the book so much. I've highlighted almost every single line there. I can memorize lines and I talk about those books to people. And then I paint things inspired from that book. So I loved it. And I also met Zoulfa at Birmingham. So I loved the
Yeah.
memory of meeting her. And then I'm just looking forward to see how big this book becomes.
I still have your paint, like you gave me that little, I still have it. It's in my little book, my book box.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. So now in terms of the format, then what's coming up next is Zoulfa will be in conversation with us, AM Dassu, and at the end there's going to be an opportunity for questions, but there's also a Q&A where you can write your questions. So yeah, I'm really delighted to have us and Zoulfa talking about the book.
Thanks so much, Patty. So I'm not going to say too much about the book because it was lovely to hear from Kat and Jennifer. But I have to say, your writing, Zoulfa. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is me saying this from somebody who absolutely struggles to write description. And when I read it, it feels effortless. It feels like it pours from your mind onto the page. I will explore more of your process later, but honestly, I was just blown away. And as Jennifer was saying, there was just line after line after line, which was just like, I want to remember this forever. It's beautiful. Such beautiful prose and a beautiful story, which I saw myself in, of course, as many of your readers will have. But I have to just start with, why must you make us cry? I think I lasted like 5 pages before I was bawling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like seems like your thing.
Yeah. So I was dubbed as like sad girl writer, and I'm like, yeah, I wear that with pride. That's my crown. I'm okay with that.
There were so many pockets of hope in this one as well, like the color and when she starts getting the glimmers of color, that was so hopeful. And then the snippets with Jamie and where she starts finding herself again, there was so many glimmers of hope. I loved how you use the loss of color to denote the huge upheaval and grief that Jihad feels. And I wanted to ask you, what made you want to explore the subject through art and color?
I mean, a lot of factors came into this. One of the main reasons why I wanted to do it with art, Lemon Trees was very purely scientific because Salama was a pharmacist working in a hospital, and I wanted the second book to be art-based because even though I am a pharmacist myself, I love the arts so much. I have so much fun in museums. It's amazing to me how painters and artists can create something from nothing. Like this was an image in your head and then now it's on a canvas. I could never like this. I tried. I could never do it. And it's beautiful. Like we don't have a lot of museums here in Switzerland. Like the ones that I like kind of like classical Monet, Van Gogh. I love those. We don't have a lot over here in Switzerland, but we have like one. We have this huge Monet water lily. I think it was like one of his water lily paintings.
That's one of
And
my
I
favorites.
and I could just like stand in front of it for hours. I went there on my birthday and it was like one of my best birthdays ever. And so I have this very deep love for the arts. And it's something that I discovered in myself only after I started writing Lemon Trees. So I was like 24 years old when I started writing Lemon Trees. And I didn't realize how important the arts were to dabble in and to nurture until after Lemon Trees came out. And I saw how far it traveled throughout the world and how it changed people's minds and how it just made the world a bit bigger, made them more empathetic, made them more kinder. And it was wonderful to see. And that's what art does. And
Yeah.
so I really wanted to write an artist because you find healing through art. I found healing when writing Ocean, when writing Lemon Trees. It was my own therapy. It was free, so I recommend. If you draw, also that is therapy, so a life hack.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to show that. And then later, when I started thinking about it more, I was like, okay, I come from a society that really values medicine and STEM, and those are very important. Like we need engineers, we need lawyers, we need doctors, obviously, but we really need artists as well. And it has become my message, my platform when talking about Ocean is that for everyone, no matter how old you are, is that you need to pursue the arts. Like that is something that your soul needs. Um, and it's how people's minds change. And I am living proof of that. Like Lemon Trees is proof of what has been able to accomplish. And it's just something that you need to find it for yourself. Like this is something I encourage 100%. And even like, and for someone like me, I love both the sciences and the arts, and I do both. So you can do both. Like, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do both. I thought that I couldn't do both. I thought like I had to choose a lane, stay in my lane. I really thought that. And it, again, only not like this didn't occur to me when I was writing Lemon Trees. It was only after like a year after Lemon Trees came out that I was like, oh, I could do both. And
Yeah.
it's amazing like how you can have everything. You can actually have everything if you love both. So yeah, but if you love the arts more, please invest in the arts. Like it's so critical in the times that we're living where AI is taking over everything. We need more creativity from people. We need like ideas from people themselves. And it's beautiful, yeah, to
Yeah,
witness.
I wholeheartedly agree. And it was just refreshing to read something with such a focus on art. Honestly, it was great. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how Muslim women's identities are questioned. Obviously, I really appreciated that you went there,
Mm.
and the power of female friendships, particularly multi-faith, multi-ethnic friendships. Why did you choose this way of exploring the subject?
It's something that I feel like every Muslim girl who's living in the West or in Europe has gone through. I mean, living in a country like I lived most of my life in the UAE, so 15 years of my life I was there. And so I had obviously mostly Muslim friends, and obviously I had also Christian Arab friends. So about like the majority were Muslim. But even Christian Arabs, kind of like we are kind of more aligned because
Yeah.
culturally it's the same. And when I moved to Switzerland and my social life, my friendships became a bit more diverse in terms of like where people's experiences are and where they come from. And it's just, I started hiding parts of myself from my friends. And these were restrictions that I put on myself. Like this wasn't, they never portrayed any, they never did anything, they never conveyed anything. I was unfortunately something called an apologetic Muslim. And for example, like I would go for writing sessions with my friends, lovely people, by the way. And it was time to pray. And I'd be like, oh, I just gotta pop up somewhere. And I would never say that I would need to pray. And then I would like spend, I don't know, 20 minutes trying to find a place that's kind of secluded where I can just like do my prayer and then come back. And I know like I didn't want to confront the idea of like, if I were to say it, what would they say or how would they react? And you have two kinds of people who would wholeheartedly accept and be very and be like, oh, can I help you find something? Like, what do you need? Blah, blah, blah. And then others who are like, oh yeah, that's fine, but it's your thing. Like, it's the vibes. Like, I don't know how to explain it. We know, like, there's a sixth sense that comes with it. And it was only after I was like, again, my mid-20s, where I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I being so apologetic? And I was like, one day I was like, oh, I have to go pray. They're like, yeah, sure, of course. And they were so like, these were, again, restrictions I put on myself. And so I really wanted to show the parts of being a Muslim girl, being a hijabi. You're very, very visibly Muslim. But that also feels like you need to kind of soften the other parts of being Muslim because some people would see it as a crutch when it's for you, it's not. But you build these because of how you're being portrayed on a wider scale. And so with Jihad and Alexis, she would have if she would have told Alexis, oh, in at Alexis' home, like I need to pray. Alexis would be like, yeah, sure, fine. But like Jihad would have that sixth sense of like, oh, she sees it as like, ugh, like a crutch, like something that she has to, put up with. As opposed, I would say, if she were with Audrey, Audrey would have been very accommodating. So there are very many different types of people out there. And it was like only later that my friend was like, and I talked about this once on Instagram, and then my friend messaged me. She's like, did I ever make you feel uncomfortable that you don't need to? And I'm like, no, it wasn't you, it was me. And it was like, and it was actually me. Like I wasn't brave enough back then to take that step. Like, why would I put that on a person? Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is that I should do whatever I want and whatever the outcome is. And thankfully, I'm surrounded by lovely, lovely people who help me. But there are obviously others who I'm like, who I've felt something from. And so I really wanted to show that
Yeah.
with Jihad and how she has to like kind of mute parts of herself in order to become more palpable and a girl's girl and whatever.
But it's really, really hard not to feel that way. Like the scene where she's praying her dhuhr in and is it what's his
At the
name?
school.
Friend.
Yes, Adrian.
Oh yeah, that's it. Adrian. Yeah, watching him, and that feeling that she has that she's being watched and she hopes she isn't. I could just see myself. You know, when you turn around, you're like, oh God, I hope no one saw me.
Yeah,
I know
yes.
that, and it's
Yeah.
so funny when you say like. Just the other day, I took my mum to a consultant appointment, and the whole time she was like, "Oh, Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, this, that." I was like, "Mom," we left. I was like, "Mom, why'd you do that? He does. Why?" And she looked at me. She went, I will speak how I want." And I was just so, and I'm like in my 40s. I was so embarrassed. I said this note because I still do it, and yeah,
Yeah.
so I saw that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I felt like as soon as you said that, I was like, I would have done the same thing. Like, I'm not an apologetic Muslim anymore, but I would still not have done that. But kudos to your mom, honestly, for being like that. Yeah.
Like, what's the need? He doesn't understand. Why are you telling him? Okay, so as Kat was mentioning, the magical realism in your story was really engaging. And it took it to another level. It was so unexpected. It was like it was visceral. I could see it. I can imagine it in an adaptation. So I was just wondering, could you tell us a bit more about your decision to use this technique?
It came from a very realistic slash unrealistic place. So the original plot was that there was going to be no magical realism. It was going to be Jihad going out at night, and just drawing one mural, and that's the one that garners a lot of attention. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, I visited New York twice. And the fear that I have as soon as sunset hits, I'm like, I need to be at the hotel. Like, I need to be hotel, locked room, everything in bed, just like safe, curtains, blinds closed, everything. And I was like, that is not realistic. Like, it's not realistic for a girl, teenage girl, to go out in Queens at 3 a.m., darkness everywhere, trying to paint a mural. Like, no. And from that came the magical realism. I was like, how do we get these murals out there? And I'm like, oh, I have free will and I have created this world, so I could do whatever I want. And so that's where I was like, oh, we have a magical sketchbook now, and the murals do their own thing. They find their ways on the buildings, and she's safe at home. And it just like it added this little twist to the story that I feel like, made it more magical. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love that because it was just so odd that it felt real and like wishful. Like, yeah, I wish that would happen.
That'd be
And
so cool.
it's also given me a bit of confidence because I completely write contemporary fiction, realistic fiction. And it's like, yeah, why not? You're creating this world. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly. And she's safe. So that's the
yeah,
most important. Because it's not, I'm so scared to go out after like 10 p.m. I want to be home. And so like no one's going out at 2 a.m. in New York. Like that's not happening.
yeah, so true. So true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Jihad's name. So I love that you chose that name for
Mm.
your main character. And not only that, you shared its true meaning at the beginning of the book. As soon as I opened the book, I was like, wow, great. You know? So what is your personal struggle as a writer?
Mm.
And for those of you in the audience, that I'm just reminding you that jihad means your struggle, okay? And if you're willing, then also what's your struggle as a Muslim woman? Your personal struggle.
I mean, for me, it's interesting that you say that, like, you're very happy that she's named Jihad. The whole book exists because of that name. Like, that's how I came up with the plot. And because I've had like reviews or messages from people like, I'm so like, you're so brave for naming her Jihad. I'm like, the book would not have existed if that wasn't her name. Like, that was the goal for me, to explain the meaning of that name through her actions. And for me, my Jihad as a writer, my struggles is on you go through so many struggles as an author. I'm sure you would feel that as well. Like, writing is like every part of the author process is a jihad for me. Like when I'm plotting, I'm like, ugh, I want to be done. And when I'm writing, I want to be done. And I'm like, always look forward to the next part. Like I want to edit, and then when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, plotting was nice. And so I'm a very impatient person. So my jihad is like learning to be patient. And as a Muslim woman, my jihad was not being an apologetic Muslim. That was my jihad, because I was muting so many parts of myself, and like, for what? And it just didn't make any sense. And it made me very upset to be like that. And again, something I only discovered in my mid-20s, spent like 25 years of my life just being like that for no reason at all. And you have moments like, it's for me, it's you don't reach the ending it's a journey. So you have days where you're like, you feel a bit weaker and days where you feel a bit stronger. And it comes and goes. It's like a wave. And so this is something that I kind of still struggle with, I would say, but not as much as I used to before. Yeah.
Good. That's great to
Mm,
hear. And it's
yeah.
actually inspiring for everyone else watching you
Mm,
and seeing how you, express yourself and are confident to be yourself. I think it's,
mm.
yeah.
I mean, it's for me, presenting myself online is a bit easier because you're surrounded by people who, accept you and want to read more of your books and want to support you and feel seen in your books as well, regardless of their ethnicities or their experiences. And that's beautiful to see. Going out into the real world, sometimes that's difficult. And so like, my mom used to be someone who, if someone would say something in the street, she would say something back. But it happened so many times that now she's just tired. So she
Yeah.
lets it kind of sometimes she lets it pass.
Yeah.
I never want to be like that because I understand where she's coming from, but I don't want to reach a point where I'm like, I'm tired of, I'm just like, I'm just gonna let it pass. I never let it pass. I used to, because like that's how I used to see it from others, or like people sometimes think that they're doing you a favor because you're living here. And I'm like, I'm a contributing member of society. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Like I deserve to be here as well. And so
Yeah.
now I'm someone who kind of also fights back.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful to do that because they never expect it. They think you are so
Well, they think you can't
so
speak
great.
English.
Yeah. Oh my God. And especially in Switzerland where I
Yeah.
always talk back in English and it makes them so upset because I understand German, but I never
Yeah.
give them the upper ground of being more fluent than me. So they have to come to my level and try with broken English to speak to me back.
That's good.
And it's fun. Like I'm not gonna say I make a game out of it. So like it becomes fun for me. So it's difficult. And it's like it's sad that this is reality actually, but
Yeah.
you learn to live with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I remember
Mm.
we went on holiday to Nuremberg in Germany, and I was talking to my kids in English, and this man just stared at me. It was outside the information center or whatever, and then he goes, can I come and speak to you?" And he was just fascinated that I could speak English,
Wow.
and he just kept asking me how I knew English and why was I speaking English, but what is my real language, etc., etc. And I was like, wow, you really so yeah, I think because obviously I live in England where everyone
Mm.
speaks English, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely in Europe that would
Yeah.
be a complete shock. So
Yeah.
so I know how heavy expectations can be when you're writing your next book. Like for me, every book that I now write, everyone says, does it get easier? And for me, it gets harder because I feel like now you're expecting me to deliver something equally as enjoyable or good or better. And I'm
Mm.
not sure I can do that. So, did the success of Lemon Trees affect your ability to write this second story,
Oh
or
my
did
God.
it just flow out of you?
Oh my God, it was so difficult. They always tell you not to read the bad reviews, but
Yeah.
they never tell you not to read the good reviews. And
Yeah.
I know I'm complaining. I'm like, oh, my gold shoes are too tight. I'm like, no, 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 they really are.
Yeah.
Because people like put it like it's on a pedestal
Yeah.
and they're like, what's going to happen next? And I'm like, well, not that. It's going to be quite different,
Yeah.
but not bad. And so I really, really struggled writing the second book. Actually, the second book's idea was something different that wasn't going anywhere because I was going through these mental writer blocks.
Yeah.
And because every second sentence I would write, I was like, is this good enough for the readers? Is this something that they're going to like? Blah, blah, blah. Especially with the lemon trees and the twists and all that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be replicated because
Yeah. You can't.
it's a different story. Exactly. And then when my agent called me, she's like, you're struggling with the story. The second story, do you want to change it to something else? And that's when I was like, yeah, let's do Jihad's story. And then when I was writing, it took me 3 months to write, so it wasn't that bad, but it did, yeah. I know it was crazy because like it did flow out of me, and it wasn't very, I don't know. Find it because I was thinking about Jihad story for a long while. Like this
Yeah.
wasn't a very recent idea. I've had that idea for like 2 years. So every now and then I was thinking about it and like how I was going to flesh out her character and all that. And so writing it wasn't that difficult. Uh, but at the same time, her voice is younger than Salama's.
Yeah.
And I worried about that because Lemon Tree's kind of straddles the line between adult and YA, and we hit both markets, which is great.
Yeah.
But Ocean's voice is very much primarily YA,
Yeah.
and that doesn't make it any less important. That doesn't make it any less that adult readers should read it. Yes, they should read it. This is a
Yeah.
book for everyone,
Yeah.
literally everyone. You learn something from it. But I was kind of concerned that it would discourage some readers from reading it because it's more YA. I've met a lot of readers then who have only read Ocean and not Lemon Trees and loved Ocean. I was like, this is weird. Usually it's always the other way around. I'm like, I don't know where you have been the last 4 years, but thank you. I love those readers. These are my favorite readers right now because it kind of like reinforces that, oh, I did
Yeah.
good. Like, it's okay. Because like, people come with expectations, and I've been tagged on reviews where someone was like, I had very big expectations for Ocean because Lemon Trees was amazing. And I love this one. I'm like, oh, thank God, yes. Alhamdulillah, that's amazing. So it's been great. But yeah, it's again, it was very difficult to come to terms with that. And it was something that I had to learn to write a book that I would be happy about, a
And
book that I would be proud and happy about.
yeah, it is hard. So are you writing your third one right now, or is it done, sent off?
No, I'm writing right now. I'm
Okay.
100 pages in. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one's like I feel like the second book took the edge off, and
Okay.
now I can write my third book. It's okay, but I'm also doing it like third person,
Oh,
so it's a new territory. So like there's no expectations with it. That's
yeah.
what my brain thinks. Yeah,
That's nice. That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the first day of school in Oceans had me raging to my core.
Mm.
I was so mad at the students' reaction to Jihad's name. My second novel explores Islamophobia and bullying, and it came from a really deep sense of rage at what I saw in the news every day, and also this desire to correct the narrative, or rather share a different perspective to the narrative that everyone's force-fed about Muslims. So what inspired you to explore? I mean, I know you said you were thinking about this book for a couple of years, but what inspired you to explore anti-Muslim sentiment in this story? Was it a specific moment, like a
Mhm.
straw that broke the camel's back, and you thought,
Mhm.
right, I've had enough, I'm
Mhm.
telling it how it is?
Mhm.
Or was it just something else?
I mean, it was many straws that broke the camel's back. There are
Yeah.
many, they're always falling, right? But this is a book that I've wanted to write since I was 13 years old,
Yeah, okay.
and read my first book with the very stereotypical Muslim girl, white boy, popular, press, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I was like, God damn it. I was like 13, and I'm like, no, like, I don't want representation anymore. I'm tired. And that was like my reading journey. Like, I would have friends recommend, like, oh, this book has like a Muslim character in it. I'm like, no, thanks. I'm good. Thank you. You can keep it. And I was like, and it didn't. And so I always knew that I was going to write a book like this, but I didn't know how or when and in what form it was going to come. And then I started writing Lemon Trees, and that took like over my whole life. And I had to write that book. That was a book that had to be written. And then after Lemon Trees came out, and I was like, oh, now we can play. Now we can write the thing that we wanted to write since the beginning. And so the original second idea was also dealing with anti-Muslim hate, because I don't like the word Islamophobia
Yeah,
that much. It really does lessen the amount of harm that it happens.
yeah,
So it did also deal with anti-Muslim hate, kind of similar to Jihad's book. And then obviously that did not work out. So I wrote Jihad's book, and I wanted to subvert every single stereotypical trope that I've seen in the media regarding Muslim girls. So everything was intentional. Jihad is intentional, Jamie's intentional, the friends around them, how the school reacts. So this was kind of like my diss track that I dropped. And I didn't want to pull any punches. I didn't want to sugarcoat anything. And Lemon Trees really taught me to do that, because I was really worried with Lemon Trees because I was writing essentially Arab Muslim characters living in Syria. Who's going to read that? Everyone, thank God, it was amazing. And so I was still worried, like whose audience is gonna be. So writing Ocean, it kind of like helped me to write Ocean, not to sugarcoat anything, not to soften anything, not to hide parts of myself. And I just wrote it like how I would have lived as Jihad. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Mm.
So, following on from that, what would you say to someone who's watching rising Muslim hatred around the world? It's endorsed by the media, politicians on a daily basis, and who might feel powerless?
Mhm.
Is there, I mean, I get this question asked and I don't like it, and I feel like I shouldn't be asking you this, but I am asking it because I just want to know what you hear as a Muslim.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that they can do
Mhm.
And also for young Muslims experiencing it, do you have any advice on how they navigate this? I mean, it's
Mm.
getting worse by the day. Do you have any personal advice?
I mean, I know that there is a rise of Muslim hate happening in the world, but I don't see it a lot reflected in the people. I don't see it a lot reflected when I open Instagram and I go through Reels. I mean,
You're so lucky.
I
That's all
was
I see.
it's because I feel like there are obviously there's amount of people and their voices are very loud. But I know that the majority of us are good. I know the majority of us are good people. I
Yes.
would say that Lemon Trees being a bestseller in France
Yeah.
is a very good example of that.
Yeah.
And it won like just an award right now for one of those newspaper stands. So like it's reached even more of a wider audience. I've had French grandmothers who have read it. And
Oh,
so I feel like there are more of us.
I agree.
Unfortunately, the bad people's voices are louder, but I don't think this should ever deter us. Like I was scrolling on Instagram, and I think he's pretty big in the UK. His name is Jack Jones. Is that right? I don't know, but like he hands people flowers, and he
Oh,
had and it was and the one
yeah.
that came up for me was like he was giving Muslim women flowers,
Yeah.
and it was so beautiful. He's
Yeah.
like more than 1 million followers or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I think he does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there are more of us out there. Like there
Oh,
are good people, but we just need to be louder than them. There are like I remember also like a reel that I was scrolling. I think it was an American mom who was saying that if my kids have Muslim friends, they're always gonna go to that Muslim friend's house, like because they can trust the parents to take care of their kids. And they're like, I had a Muslim friend growing up. Her mom was like my second mom. Like the way we present ourselves in society speaks for itself. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And when people start to know you or know Muslims, it really does change. I had a French teacher who came to my signing, and she's a French teacher in one of those like remote villages in France. And she's like, I'm a feminist. She teaches I think junior year, I don't know, like middle grade, junior. And she's like, we have a Muslim girl in our class. She wears a hijab. She's like, I'm a feminist. I don't really. I like people can do whatever they want, but I don't really agree with the hijab. Like I don't like the way what it represents or like the idea behind it. But then I read Lemon Trees. I'm so sorry. Like it
Oh,
changes people. And
yeah.
so I feel like there are more good people out there. People have more of ignorance, but when they're confronted with the truth, they actually do change. Like it's a thing. And I feel like my advice for Muslims out there is just to emulate the Prophet and how he presented himself in society. He was met with so much aggression, he was met with so much hatred, but it never changed the kindness in his heart. It never changed how he presented himself and how he spread love and kindness and acceptance, no matter who it was. And in the end, well, there's a lot of Muslims out there in the world now because of that. So,
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's such a lovely sentiment that we need to overpower the hate and
mm,
overcome it with love and hope and just
yeah,
go out there and not,
yeah.
as you said, Jihad making herself feel small, not do that, but go out
Mm.
there and be ourselves.
Yeah, but I will only say like this should not mean that we're weak.
No,
If someone's gonna transgress their boundaries, that's where I'm like, stop. That's
yeah,
not I'm not gonna allow that. And that's where I would either fight with my words or try to like do something. You know what I mean? But it never means weakness.
yeah,
Being kind should never be mistaken as a sign of weakness.
absolutely.
And yeah, so if you need to protect yourself,
Do it.
obviously protect yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Mm.
agree. So school is a representation of society, whether it's employment or as a citizen, and how policies affect different people in different ways and the bias. And you can see parts of that in your story. So can you tell us a bit more about how you reflected what we see in our daily lives and what we experience in our daily lives in
Mhm.
this story, in the school setting?
Mm. I feel like school is like this small ecosystem of representing the entire world. You meet so many different types of people in school, and they kind of are like, did I freeze? Am I good?
No, you're good
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
There
okay.
you go.
Yeah, I don't know. It freezes sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like kind of a small ecosystem that represents the entire world that you're going to go out to when you're an adult, but kind of like more on concentrated versions. So you get like a concentrated amount of each. If someone is horrible, you'll get a concentrated amount of that horrible person and then concentrated amount of a good person. And so I really wanted to explore like, school dynamics and friendship dynamics that honestly shape our lives. We all remember like our friendships back in school, whether it went south or whether we're still friends with them to this day. So like it was interesting to write because I mean, like for me, I don't know if like if readers would agree because obviously when a book is out, that's something that John Green said. Like when a book is out, it belongs to the reader, and I agree. Like the death of the author and all that.
Yeah.
But like for me, whether Jihad was a Muslim, a hijabi, whatever, she was going to be treated like that
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah.
because there are these dynamics this political science to it when it comes to like friendship groups and an outsider coming in, and it's something I feel like we all went through in our
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah.
but you add to it the layer of racism
Yeah.
and prejudice, and
Yeah.
it kind of like muddles the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So I know you sort of said that you'd sort of thought about the story for a couple of years before you wrote it, but tell us a bit more about Jamie. Obviously, I
Mhm.
adored him. Was he always part of the plot, or did he develop and come to you after you'd written Jihad's story?
Mhm.
And do you think that every teen in the world wants a Jamie in their life right now? Because he's just so
He
adorable.
is. He is. He's so sweet. I mean, Jamie was written to subvert the trope of the white boy,
Yeah,
popular white boy. And when I
yeah,
thought if he was always going to exist, he was always going to be the golden retriever to her black cat. But, and I always wanted him to be a revert. Like I wanted him to revert on page. That was something very important to me. To show like, because there's so many reverts out there. And I personally have not read many stories, or
no,
maybe just like one Love from A to Z with Adam, but Adam like begins the story as a revert, and I really wanted to show that on page of
yeah,
people accepting this religion
yeah,
and just finding peace with it. And writing him was very much fun because at the beginning I was writing it more as a romance. And then I got to the end, I'm like, this is not working. There's just no place in her life to fall in love with anyone.
yeah,
And yeah, and so I went back and I wrote it as a Studio Ghibli relationship where it's kind of like between platonic and romantic. And she really needed to heal, like 100%. Like she was not in any place to fall in love or anything like that. He is, so sorry to him. And writing
Actually, I
him,
love that she rejected him. That was like such a surprise to me. I was like, oh, you go,
I
girl.
I mean, like, they're 17, she's very wise for her age.
Really? I was like, wow.
She's like, it's just like logistically, how is this gonna like? She's very wise. So I'm
Yeah.
like, because I mean, I thought of ending it with them together, but then I was like, I wrote that scene and I'm like, it's not working. Like something about it's not. She's still not in that place. Like she has to be out there. She has to get out there, find herself, live her life. If he's still there 10 years later, sure. Like we don't know. This is up to the reader. But writing him was, yeah, it was very fun. And then I wanted to add like an extra layer. So I wanted to talk about identity. And so while Jamie is so visibly white presenting,
Yeah,
and
I
he is
love that you have
Vietnamese,
that.
yeah, but he
Yeah.
is Vietnamese. He identifies as a Vietnamese person.
Mm.
And I really, and then they go into these conversations about what identity means to them and how they're perceived within their own culture and how they're perceived within the US as well. So they have very different experiences, but kind of also similar in a way. Like they find that belonging in one another.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun to write. It was very fun. It was very healing to write as well. Very
It
interesting
was healing
too.
to read. It was
Yeah,
healing
that's
to read.
great.
So on the mention of identity and their feeling of belonging, I love how, and I know, don't worry, Patty, I know we're going to Q&A soon. And if you have any questions, can you start putting them in the chat? And this is my last question for Zulfa. So I love how Jihad honors her mum's life in Syria. I love how you honored your heritage in lemon trees too. Did the way that Jihad remembers her mother's stories come from your own childhood memories of hearing your own family stories?
I mean, yes and no. Uh, Both Salama and Jihad do not share my experiences. So
Okay.
I'm a nomad. I've lived in many countries. Salama is just Syrian. Jihad is just American.
Yeah.
And I'm everything.
Yeah.
So I haven't written a character till now who shares my experiences. So my memories with Syria differ from Jihad. Jihad has never been to Syria, but I have. I visited when I was younger. I visited in 2024, 2020, yeah, 2020. Wait, no, 2025, sorry. End of the year 2025 in December. It was amazing. And so I have memories of Syria. So these are the memories that I kind of gave Jihad
Yeah.
in a way, coupled with like my mom's own stories as well. So she grew up in one of the villages in Damascus, in the suburban area of Damascus, and we had orchards, we had plum trees, peach trees, and my mom would like that was her summer. She would climb peach
Yeah,
trees
because that bit
and
when you
eat
said she picked
cherries.
the cherry from the window,
Yeah, yeah.
wow, I would so love to do that.
They actually live like that. I mean, it's pretty cool. So it's like it's beautiful. So these are like it was a combination of my experiences and my mom's experiences, and just like a love letter to Syria. Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so you know how you said it's up to the reader what happens between Jamie and Jihad? No, I need a sequel where we see Jamie and Jihad get together, either how they come together, or even in their life beyond that in Wisconsin and San Francisco. So I'm going to end with that hope and wish and leave that with you. I'm going to move to the questions now from our audience. So Kat asks, what was the initial inspiration for Ocean and how would you describe your writing process?
Yeah, the initial inspiration was jihad, was the word
Yeah.
jihad, the meaning of it. And as soon as I thought of it, I immediately could see her in my mind. I could see her as very emo, very, very sad, very much in her
She
feelings,
was so
and
sad.
very depressed, like poor girl. Like she really went through
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
And then slowly it starts like I feel like it's just like it's begins like a small embryo and then it just like the world becomes bigger and bigger like the Big Bang Theory and then it just like explodes into this whole universe. Like you pull a thread and there's like the thread keeps like never ending and then you can
You did
find
it
that universe.
beautifully, though. You did
Thank
it.
you.
She's just like in her own shell at the beginning.
Yeah.
It just happens organically, and it's
Yeah, I love that. I'm
yeah,
so
it's great.
happy because I didn't want it to be like jarring,
No,
like
it
you know what I
wasn't.
mean?
Not at all.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's as
great.
a reader, it's just like, oh, she's healing.
Yeah,
You
you
can
see
see it.
it. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. I
yeah,
love
yeah. It's
that.
lovely.
Because I see it, but like sometimes, I think
No,
you
no,
would
we
agree,
saw it.
like as an author, you have sometimes tunnel vision and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, they're seeing it, but no one is seeing it. Like it's
yeah,
just you.
yeah. So Kat also asks that she wonders how you keep yourself motivated when writing a long form piece of fiction. Although you said
Oh,
you did it in 3 months, and I'm sorry, that's just too
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I know, but because I had the synopsis.
You
Like
did a good synopsis.
I had the synopsis. I did, even though I'm a pantser, but like with
I am.
publishers, they need, yeah, I was like, because Lemon Trees was pants. Lemon Trees it was so much fun to discover everything that was happening in Lemon Trees as it was happening. But with Ocean, the one thing that I kept for myself in Ocean, I did not write about in the synopsis were the murals. So I never planned the murals. They just, as soon as I reached a mural scene, that's
Yeah,
when I thought of what the mural is going to be.
yeah,
So that was fun for me.
yeah,
But if I don't have these little Easter eggs, surprise eggs for myself, these cookies that I eat along the way, it's going to be boring.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Nadine asks, I'd love to know Zulfa's thoughts on writing as a Muslim, the pressure to represent or to make your stories Islamically correct.
It's a very big responsibility nowadays to become a Muslim author because I'm pretty sure that there are Muslims who probably don't like Ocean. Totally fine. That's fine. As a reader, you're entitled to your own opinion. They might not agree with some of the choices that Jihad does. Obviously, totally fine. I feel like people see Islam as this monolith when it's not.
Yeah,
It's very dynamic. Like you have certain things like the five pillars of Islam, those are non-changing. Everything else is extremely dynamic. And your experiences as a Muslim are very different to my experiences as a Muslim. My issue has always been the wide brush of what is it called? Oh my God, I always say it.
stereotypes.
Stereotypes, but no, the other word. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot words. What is it called?
I forget words too. Anyone want to help us?
Oh my God, I forgot the word. I always talk about it. I always, this is so embarrassing.
No, it's not. Don't
Oh,
worry,
thank
I
you.
do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Stereo-
Nuance. Nuance.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Not
Thank
black and
you.
white. Yeah, okay.
Not black and white. Yeah. My issue has always been the lack of nuance in representing Muslims. Okay. I think, for example, All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. Beautifully written, nuanced book.
Yeah.
The characters of that story don't necessarily have the same experiences or the same way that I would behave in certain situations,
Yeah.
but it never showed Islam as the boogeyman.
No.
His mom, I will always remember, I love her. His mom has, like, she also has one of the chapters. If you haven't read All My Rage, 100% you should read it.
Okay.
And his mom is shown as this devout Muslim woman who's extremely kind, extremely accepting, and just like wonderful, like a wonderful human being. And the characters are flawed, and that's fine. That's perfect. Like, we're not asking for like the perfect, there's no such thing as a perfect Muslim.
No.
But she created nuance. I finished that book feeling proud to be Muslim. I don't like, I don't necessarily would have done what the characters have done or acted this way, but I would never say that this is a bad representation. Not for me, it's not. Even it's a different experience. And
Yeah.
so my issue has always been nuanced. It's always been that Islam is used as the butt of the joke, or
Yeah.
used as this, oh God, I have this thing on my shoulder.
Yeah.
No, like that's not it. That's always been my issue. But it's always you as a Muslim writer, you have to write the experiences that are true to yourself. And you also have to have a critical eye when writing your stories and creating nuance with it. So I wrote the stories, my stories represent me and my friends and my experiences. It might not be the same experiences as another Muslim. That's totally fine. But that's the beauty of it. That's why when people are surprised that you speak English, well, Islam is not really ethnicity. It's a religion. You
Yeah.
have Muslims all over the world. So many Muslims in Africa, so many Muslims in East Asia, so many Muslims in the West. In like it's amazing. And so they come with their own cultures and their own experiences, and they deserve to be told as well.
Yeah. And that's why there can be so many stories. There are
Yeah,
so many.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jessica and Abby ask, there is, without too deep spoilers, a moment in Ocean where Jihad paints a mural of the happy ending her mother didn't get. And it's the only one that doesn't come to life because it's not true. That moment spoke deeply to me because it felt like it really gave power to the truth of her other art. How important is that moment to you in the narrative structure of the story?
Oh, wow, that's a very deep question. I mean, I didn't know that it wasn't going to show up when I wrote it. And then I thought it was going to show up. And then she has like this internal realization that this shouldn't have happened. And then I was like, no, it doesn't show up. Because like this is something that we all go through in our life. And it's also something I feel like where we lie to ourselves, where the lie is better than the truth. And not as a magnitude as what she has gone through, but for example, all of us, I would say, have gone through friendships that weren't exactly friends. It wasn't the best of friendships, but it's probably easier than being alone and losing someone that you actually really like. And that's something that, for example, she has to grapple with about Alexis, that this is her friend. She's known her for so long. Like, is it better to be in this friendship? So I feel like this kind of represents that the lie is never the answer. The truth is hard, but
Yeah.
it has to be the truth.
Yeah, I love that. Aksa asks, how do you go from having a passion for writing and a novel draft to getting published? That's a long.
It's a very long answer.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the second part. Was it a struggle to publish at the beginning? So when you were looking for representation, what was your story?
I mean, I had a better journey than most, I would say. So I wrote Lemon Trees within a year, and then it took me a year and a half to find an agent. But this year and a half felt like 84 years, like
Yeah.
Titanic years. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of rejections, actually. Lemon Trees got 50 rejections from agents.
Did you get the it's not quite for me?
Yeah. I got the is English really your first language? And I'm like, woo! There we go. I was like, she's like, it doesn't feel like English is your first language. So when I was rewriting, I was like, is this fluent enough for you, ma'am? And at the time,
Wow.
I
Well,
felt
you know
so
what? I bet she's crying now, seeing
Probably.
your sales figures.
Yeah. But yeah, it was that was the only bad interaction that I had. Everyone else was like, yeah, it's not for me, blah blah blah. But I did my prayer. I always prayed that I only would have an what's it called? An offer from the best, or the one that's best for me. And that's what happened. I only had one offer from an agent. I'm so happy with that. She is the best agent ever. And yeah, well, there's
Yeah,
lemon trees.
Aksa, it just takes one yes. So you have to keep going through the nose. And as Zulfa
It
writes,
was so
one of
personal.
her lines that I loved was when Jihad says, uh, going through, is it treacle? You used another one. It wasn't treacle, but there's a line about you, Jihad saying that she feels like life is going through, it's not treacle, you use something else, but like mud or something thick.
Oh,
And
molasses?
molasses, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah, my mum's
yeah.
favorite thing, molasses.
Yeah.
And that is what it can feel like. So just
Yeah.
keep going
And
through
it's so
that.
personal. It feels personal. Like,
It
I'm not gonna lie,
does.
if you feel like you've been slighted with a rejection,
Yeah.
it does feel like that because you are literally writing your soul,
Yeah.
right? So when someone says no, it's like they're saying no to you. I don't
Yeah.
want you. And it hurts. So
Yeah.
you really need to protect yourself and protect your psyche and your mind. Yeah.
And keep going.
And keep
So
going. Yeah.
yeah. So Sarah asks, what was the advice from your past experience with the two books for your next book that you are currently working on? So what was the advice from your past experience with the two books for your next book that you're currently working on? So I guess what are you using that you've learned
I
in
mean,
the
what
new
if,
one?
yeah, every book is so different. So I always see them as like different siblings. And I'm writing whatever I want to write. And Lemon Tree's kind of proved that I'm right. Like my third book right now is a bit different. I'll talk about it later, hopefully within the year. But it's something that I've always also wanted to write, but it never came into words until Syria became free. And I don't think I would have been able to write this book, for example, 3, 4 years ago. I wouldn't have had the mental capacity for it, or I didn't level up enough in my Mario game to be able to write this story. But yeah, it's for me, it's always been like writing whatever you want to write. Like I never write for the market. I write what I want to read and what I want to write.
And that is actually one of the
Mm.
best advice that a writer can give
Yeah,
you. Jessica and Abby have asked this is our last question.
no worries.
For any young readers and would-be writers reading Ocean because of Big City Reads, what advice would you have for a first-time writer? And I think you kind of gave it, so.
But also at the same time, I would say my writer origin story has always been fan fiction. So I always recommend writing fan fiction. I still write fan fiction. I have like an alias, and one of
Ew.
my biggest fears is that
Someone's gonna catch you out.
no, not that. Like I would use one of the sentences or like words in my fan fiction, my original, and they're like, she's plagiarizing. And I would have to
Oh God,
come out, and
yeah.
I would have to come out and be like, this is my fan fiction, you guys. So
Oh
like I'm
God,
plagiarizing myself.
yeah.
So I'm always very careful to like kind of exclude the both, but I would say fan fiction is one of the best ways to learn how to write. But yeah, I mean, once the like it's like my Batman secret identity being like on fan fiction and writing my little fanfic. And it's so much fun because like I love fan fiction. I've always loved fan fiction. I've been writing it for ever since I was a teenager. And it's such a beautiful community because people honestly are just so genuine with their comments and they just want it's a beautiful it's like a gift. Like for me, fanfic, like you don't make anything, like you don't make money from it, you don't do any, but you gain so many writing points and you learn so much just by writing fan fiction. So I recommend fan fiction 100% as an author. Yeah.
That's great
Mhm.
advice. Well, we're at the end of the session now. Thank you so much for joining us, Zulfa. It was an absolute joy to talk to
Thank you
you.
so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for all your questions. Thank you for reading.
I
This
loved
is
it.
amazing. Thank you so much.
And we're all very, very much looking forward to reading book 3. So good
Thank you
luck
so
with the
much.
rest of the writing.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yeah, just gonna step in. So thank you everyone for coming, for being here. Thank you to Kat and Jennifer for coming here as well to talk about the book and for listening, for being in the panel. Very, very special thanks to Zoulfa Katouh and us for having us have this amazing conversation today. And thank you to Arts Council England as well for funding us and for funding Big City Reads this year. And just wanted to remind everyone that's in Nottingham that we're having a special reading group at Five Leaves Bookshop on 26th of August about Ocean. So I will send a reminder to anyone that's around in case you want to come and talk more about the book. And yeah, big, big thank you and virtual applause to Zulfa and Az for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.